A water park, which you think would be a place for fun, although in the COVID era, maybe not so much. But a water park in Pennsylvania turned into a violent scene when police ended up being called. It's called the Camelback Resort in Tannersville, Pennsylvania. And the police were called because one of the guests, who happens to be an off-duty NYPD officer, or at least he identified himself as that, got into it with a group of teens. And while they were in the park, they have an argument and he gets them kicked out of the park, but they're still at the hotel. And then later in the day, there's a confrontation between him and this other group of kids in the hotel. And that's when police showed up. So here's, again, the guy who is charging toward the camera is the guy who says he's an off-duty NYPD officer.
Here I am, bro.
There he is. Drunk. Look. This is the guy that we had an issue with. This is the guy that we had an issue with.
Now what? That's it?
We're getting kicked out.
And
that's the reason
that's all you do to him? The chain? No, nothing, right? That's the aggressor. That's the third time and y'all still haven't done nothing. And you ready to put handcuffs on my girlfriend for walking right there? Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous.
He's waiting so they're gonna let him rock.
Of course he is. That's why, right? He just tried to assault me. Yo, shut up.
Let's get down. What do we got? Ask Mike what we gotta do to get down.
What?
So here's what the young people basically think is happening here. They think because this guy says he's off-duty NYPD, that the officers, the local officers in Pocono Township, they're going easy with him. They're treating him very fairly, very calmly. But with them, they're saying, you got to get out of the hotel. You got to go. You got to go. And they don't understand that because the hotel told them they could stay at the hotel. Then when they the police go to make arrests, it gets very violent. Pay attention to the guy who's down on the ground and an officer punches him, it looks like at least 3 times in the head.
Don't touch me.
Look at him touching her.
Don't
This
touch
is
me.
the opposite. This is your opposite.
bro. I'm not resisting.
Okay, so I want to make a point. I want to make a point here, and you know, you can't tell, you know, who instigated what from this because the video is not complete. But what you can know is this: that one of the things we're talking about, and it is so fundamentally important if we're going to have any change, is the concept of de-escalation. That when police show up to something, what's the MO? Is the MO to de-escalate the situation, or is the MO to enforce something? And
Harvey, I don't know why you're saying that you can't tell. These kids didn't do anything to escalate this.
I agree.
They were confused because according to them, the hotel said, it's fine. You can stay at the hotel. Yes, you got kicked out of the park. You can stay at the hotel and you can go back to the park tomorrow. And they're just,
Fair enough. I guess
they don't understand why they're being kicked out.
Fair enough. What I'm saying is this, that before the police go into this place, maybe somebody needs to have a discussion. How are we going to handle this? Are we going to handle this where look, the climate right now is people are angry at the police. So how are we going to handle this to make sure that it doesn't become violent, as opposed to let's go in there and enforce things? And I think there is a difference in mindset. It's a water park. Nobody's threatening anybody. It's like, that's the cultural change.
And actually, guys, the cops have been suspended while the police department kind of investigates what exactly happened here.
Look, and they can suspend them and they can then discipline them, or they could fire them or do whatever. But unless it comes from the top that we need to fundamentally change the way we approach nonviolent encounters, unless they have that discussion and change the whole culture, we're just going to see more of them, and then they'll discipline, they'll suspend, but it's not going to change unless it changes from the people who are the ones disciplining.
Dwayne Springs calling from Greenwood, Mississippi. And in this situation, you see that the cops have trouble de-escalating situation. Like, that kid's probably 140 pounds, and the cops still hitting him in the back of the head. Like, he's clearly not resisting arrest, and the cops have such a big problem with de-escalating situations, something they're trained to do. It's no reason to be hitting that kid in the back of the head. So this is definitely a major problem and a concern worldwide, and that's why I'm all for defunding the police.
Well, you make a really, really good point that this kid is this thin kid, and you've got these burly police officers.
Who are already on his back. Right.
It shouldn't take a lot for those guys to subdue this kid without doing what they did.